Curse? What curse? Welcome back to the backcourt. It's time for episode 19. We've got another huge show in store after a massive weekend of semi-final action. We've got the Diamond Squad, the actual one, not our one, that was released. We're going to run our eye over that. And what's happening with the Giants? Where will they be? What will they be called? Who knows? But most importantly, it's time to celebrate producer Liv, or host Liv, whose birthday was on the weekend. Well, Liv, fantastic weekend for you as a whole. The Vixens won. You had your great birthday. You were tied up at the Percy Beams. Let us all in on it.
Yeah, what a birthday present from the Vixens.
And the Ds, but yeah.
Not from the Ds.
Oh, yeah,
the Ds let us down on Saturday night.
You can tell I pay attention to that one.
Not that I watched much of the game,
but the Vixens.
The Vixens. That was the real joy of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, another year older, and I feel like I've finally gotten to the age where you tell everyone you've turned 21.
Yeah, you ruined my gag. I was going to say, how was your 21st birthday? But what'd you get up to? Obviously, I had a great one. By the sounds of it.
Yeah. Went for a few drinks on Saturday night and to the footy, which was lots of fun. Yeah. And then, pretty low-key on Sunday.
Then you parked yourself on the couch Sunday, Fox Netball on.
Went out to the pub actually Sunday night for a Sunday roast.
Right.
Which was nice.
Hey, roast. That's a big thing in the UK. We don't do it often here.
Yeah. It was
Where'd
good.
you go?
The Royston.
Yeah. And?
I really like the Royston. Yeah. Have you been there?
No. And they do a good roast at the
Royston.
They
do a good roast. They do a good trivia. We love trivia at the backcourt.
Yeah.
And
What roast are we talking? Beef?
Yeah, it was beef. But it was like perfectly, a little bit pink.
Yeah.
Just how a Sunday roast should be. How was your weekend, Matt?
How was my weekend? Not quite as exciting as yours. It started with the dentist on Friday.
Oh, no.
And you go once a year to the dentist.
I'm actually going on Wednesday.
Are you? Well,
I hate it.
Yeah, I didn't go for ages, and then my teeth were bugging me last year, and my darling wife was like, we'll go to the dentist. I was like, hey, that makes sense. That's a good piece of advice. And this dentist, I really like him, but he tries to make small talk like a hairdresser would. It's just really uncomfortable when he's knuckle deep in my mouth.
Yeah, I hate
to make
that
small
too.
Talk.
I actually wish there was a button you could, a box you could tick.
Like on Ubers?
That says, I don't want to talk. Can you do that on Uber?
I'm pretty sure you can on Uber. If you're a certain level of Uber, you can go, maybe not if you're on our level of Uber, but maybe it's people higher up.
Yeah.
You can tick how much talking you want them to do.
I think with hairdressers and dentists, you should be able to say, I don't want to talk.
I get hairdressers.
Yeah.
What else are you going to do? But yeah, the dentist, his hands, he would ask me a question. Anyway, I won't do that. And then I got stuck. And then this is in the weekend stuff, but on the way here, I didn't have the car. We've only got one car, so I had to trudge.
Oh no!
With the set.
The old 302.
Yeah, had to trudge through in the rain. But you've got a note here as well before we dive into the body of the show that you've been shadow banned on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
Let us know about that. What's going on here?
I was mentioning this to producer X, and I think she added this in. Right. But I think I've been shadow banned. On
Explain
TikTok.
What shadow banned is.
Well, I don't really know, but I think it's that when you make a TikTok, TikTok chooses not to send it out to anyone.
Is that because you've aggrieved the powers at TikTok?
I don't know. I must have. But I made a TikTok on Saturday night that I thought was absolutely hilarious after a few too many rosés. And it's had all of 45 views.
Really?
Yeah. Well, so I think the platform just is not my friend at the moment. And I'm not a massive TikToker, but
have you been
I quite enjoy it.
Against China or anything like that?
Not to my awareness.
There you go.
So... Which is quite ironic, given that they want us to sit on a panel.
Well, keep your powder dry. Keep your powder dry on that one. Okay. Well, if anyone's listening, get on the TikTok, boost the numbers. And we'll see if she's really shadow banned. But no, look, what we're going to do this week, Liv, because of how big the weekend was, we're going to flip the order around. So we're going to start. We're going to start with some netty news.
How could we not?
Liv, I'm going to start with the biggest news, the biggest fallout from the weekend. Kira Austin's hair. So we saw on Monday, they're back in town after, as we said off top of the show, got rid of the curse. Kira straight into the salon. I don't know if you call it a salon, hairdressers, and just had a bit of a change up. I don't know if you've got any strong opinions. I like it. I think it looks good. Producer X called it old money blonde.
I think Kira herself is calling it old money blonde, which I think is quite ironic given that she...
I'm just going to quickly Google what old money blonde is. But what did you think?
She's headed into the old money derby this weekend. It was quite perfect timing.
Right. So old money blonde, this is an AI overview.
Yeah.
Is a sophisticated, luxurious hair colour trend that blends warm and cool blonde tones to create a soft, natural-looking dimension. Now, that's what you think of when you think Kira Austin?
Oh, yeah. She looks lovely. I think it looks great. Good on her.
Yeah, I like it. It's looks like it came back last year, August 2024.
I feel a little bit like you're trying to bury the lead here because last week you were very vocal. You were asking me where the Vixens should be booking their Mad Monday.
Well, clearly Kira had a hair appointment and that's why she played so well. She couldn't miss that hair appointment.
Maybe, but you were very skeptical of the Vixens and I said, I won't be having that. No. And now's my moment to say, I told you so.
Well, anything else you want to say before we get into the nuts and bolts of it?
But I'll leave it with I told you so.
Okay. Firstly, Kira, I like your hair. It looks good. We look forward to seeing it on the court this weekend. No, so the Thunderbirds and the Vixens was the first semi-final. It was the game that everyone was actually interested in. Thunderbirds coming off, looking for three-peat. They hadn't lost to the Vixens in 5 attempts. And the Vixens obviously going to their arch nemesis, Adelaide Entertainment Centre. And it was a show-up for the books. Kira, as we've mentioned, was very good. Sophie Garben as well. They played really, really well. Only 3 turnovers between them, which I think the week before they had about 15.
Yeah.
So that was really impressive. And it was an intense game. And you watched it on the couch hungover, so it would have been hard for you to follow the intensity, the vibes. But the margin never got beyond 5 goals.
Yeah, it was a big game, wasn't it?
An amazing game.
I think your point on the turnovers is a big one because I was looking into this and Kip and Garben both they're sitting at number 1 and 3 for the players in the whole league.
Which is not good.
Not good at all for the most turnovers in the season. So I think clearly that's what they've been working on in the last couple of weeks. So they really played quite a clinical game of netball, which ultimately almost shut Latanya Wilson. Not going to say it shut her out because she still had some impact, but she wasn't able to capitalise on mistakes because there weren't as many mistakes.
Yeah, it's more of an indicator. So rather than shutting her out, the fact that they were so clinical, you could tell that by the fact that she didn't get any ball. Because I think Laddie averages 1,000 gains a game. So
1,000,
yeah, that's hyperbole for people
listening
at home. But yeah, that's probably more the point. Rather than Latanya playing poorly, it was the fact that they just didn't give them an inch, which is I think from memory was their game plan was to be very patient with the ball in the grand final last year.
Yeah, okay.
Was to try and do that and they didn't quite execute it because obviously having Shamira, Latanya and Matilda is slightly different. Whereas this year they were able to execute it. But there was a couple other interesting tidbits from the game. And before the game, Rudy Ellis copped a stray elbow from Schmacko's Western.
Hilarious.
Have you seen it on Rudy's Instagram?
I have.
The last slide?
She's had stitches. It looks like there's 2 stitches in it.
I didn't take that closer look, but it definitely raised up, didn't it? It's blown up quite a bit. And it was quite visible on the broadcast. I was disappointed the broadcast didn't really hone in on it enough, I thought.
I know. Joe must have felt shocking.
Well, it didn't stop her from obviously playing well, both of them. And your friend of the show, again, I don't think she's officially a friend of the show, but we'll call her a friend of the show, Kate Eddy. She was obviously in your Vibes team, co-captain of your Vibes team.
Co-captain, and for good reason.
And for good reason. And she didn't get picked in the Diamond squad, which we'll get to in a bit. But she stuck it up the selectors, didn't she, on the weekend? She
played an absolute blinder. And my favourite part was that she let her netball do the talking, but then Kate Moloney really doubled down in the post-game presser. Did you see this?
No, I haven't seen this.
So she got asked a question about Kate Eddy's performance and she just went on this 2-minute monologue about how great it was from Kate Eddy and her intercepts. Kate Moloney wishes she was getting those, blah, blah, blah. So I felt like it was a
So did Moloney say anything about the diamonds itself,
no,
or was it just right?
I think it said it was under
read between the lines,
sort of stuff. But yeah, great game from Kate Eddy on the weekend.
No, that's great, and leadership from Moloney. We love a bit of Kate Moloney leadership.
We do.
And we already mentioned the turnovers. Kip, she's getting we often think of Helen Housby as clutch. Obviously makes a name for herself in super shot time, but Kira Austin over the past few years has become more and more clutch. Stands up in big games. Even the grand final last year kept the Vixens in and almost won it for them. And then on the weekend, so the Thunderbirds, I think they'd either drawn level with a Horges super shot or actually taken the lead, and went down the other end and Kip drained one from, I wouldn't say her most preferred position in the arc. She likes taking from front and centre. She was a bit out to the left, drained that, got them back in front, and then they were able to turn the ball over and run out the clock for a minute. So it was a pretty, that whole 90 seconds at the end was intense.
And I love it when a game of netball just turns into keepings off. It just feels like...
Well, because in theory, you should just be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's one of those things if you don't know netball, you'd be like, well, why can't you do that?
Yeah.
But it's a lot harder than it looks.
So, yeah, I loved watching them just play a bit of keepings off at the end. That was fun.
They've tried it before too. I think they did it against the Swifts when they beat them in round 10. They did something similar.
Yeah.
And they tried it. We were both at this game the year before, the prelim final.
I was going to say the one against...
The Fever. And when they were up by about 13, and they tried keepings off for the last 5 minutes, and it almost came back to bite them. But they keep going back to it, which is good.
Yeah, they do.
No, very, very impressive. We actually had, on the topic of, this is in the run sheet, but producer X had sent me a message as we were watching the game Sunday, and then before the next game, she just noticed on socials that a few Thunderbirds fans, they weren't very happy with the Vixens running at the clock.
No.
Despite it being pretty much the point of the game.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to read out the handle. I feel that's a bit harsh. But just commented on the Thunderbirds' full-time graphic. Poor sportsmanship by the Vixens. Purposely holding up play for the last minute so we didn't get another shot at goal as we were only one down.
That's the whole point.
That's not how you play in a final if you're a decent team. Looking forward to next season, T-Birds. So I think the Vixens they definitely have questions to answer about bending the rules, not good sportsmanship.
Netball's got enough rules. Let's not add more rules.
You know, a few people were just getting in the comments, it's smart play. Literally every team does that. And one person says, okay, the Fever will pummel the Vixens in the final. So they're already writing off the Swifts. We can talk a little bit about the Thunderbirds quickly, though. Their biggest problem this year has probably been, I wouldn't say the demise of Lauren Frew, that's a bit harsh. But Lauren Frew had a really good year last year in goal attack.
Yeah.
Hasn't hit those same heights. And they've had to play Georgie Horgis in goal attack a lot. But they also need her in wing attack.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, there's not two of her.
They really do need her in wing attack and goal attack. And she played fantastic on the weekend. It was a super shot shootout.
Right at the end. Yeah, I think she's 6 from 9 or something like that.
Exactly, between her and Kira Austin. But, yeah, Lauren Frew just hasn't quite had the same season that she had last season. So it'll be interesting to see how they go next year if there's a bit of a shake-up in the list.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Obviously, there's Ramal to watch. Obviously, you know, everyone would expect her to follow the suit of Joe Harton. And second-year blues is a thing. You know, Lauren Frew was a debutante last year, so people don't know how to play her. Now this year they've done a bit of homework on her, so I'm sure she'll bounce back. And the last note before we get into the next game, which wasn't quite as interesting, was the fact that Tanya Robb's really backed in. She's backed in youngsters this whole sort of 3-year period.
Yeah.
She's always backed in youngsters. The first year it was Taylor Williams and Lucy Austin. Last year it was Lauren Frew. And then this year she's really backed in Sophie Casey and Kayla Graham. And it was quite strange to a few people that she kept them in centre and wing attack in those dying minutes and had Taylor Williams in particular on the bench and Hannah Petty in wing defence.
Exactly. There were a few people on socials sort of questioning that, but it's also really nice to see coaches trusting the pathway.
Yeah.
Because those two did play really strong games. But, yeah, interesting choice. Would it have changed the result? Not sure.
It's a bit of hindsight stuff, isn't it? Like they lost, so everyone's looking for a mistake. I thought Kayla Graham was really good in wing attack. I thought, because obviously Horgis was the better goal attack, so they had to play Georgie there because she could shoot the super shot. I hate saying that. Like a tongue twister for me.
It is, isn't it?
So then, but Kayla Graham was really good. She had put off a couple of really athletic intercepts. But yeah, the Thunderbirds, considering Shamira, at the start of the year, if you'd said Shamira wasn't going to play pretty much the whole year, I don't think anyone would have predicted that they made the semi-finals, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I think they did really well. I think the Thunderbirds, they could probably win the next 6 flags and no one would begrudge them. Everyone seems to like them.
Everyone loves them.
But the Vixens roll on, as we saw.
Vixens roll on. We're happy about that.
We certainly are.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks, Vixens.
Oh, she's gone Jack Ginnivan style.
We're not
She's
doing
just
that.
in the Fever DMs, just sending, Katie and Diane played at the Vixens, so maybe a few of them have messaged Katie Ann and said, see you in a couple of weeks.
Nah, they wouldn't be doing
It's
that.
double meaning because the Fever have to come to Melbourne anyway, so they probably will catch up with her anyway. Anyway, Fever, they booked their, as Kath Cox said on the broadcast, direct flight to Melbourne. I don't know if there was I don't know if you can get stopovers anymore.
Any other rounds? I don't think so.
They beat the Swifts by 32, 77-45. I'll be honest, I watched the first game and I was, the adrenaline's pumping, needed to calm down. I flicked over to something else for a bit, came back to the Fever, the Swifts game, and it was 46-20 at halftime. And
West Coast Fowler.
Yeah, well, even Fowler was amazing as per, 66 from 68, but it was their defence. I think the 3 defenders, circle defenders, had 14 or 15 gains between them. Sunday dominated. Dan was getting a lot of joy whenever they were able to get intercepts down there, and they looked to have really rattled all the Swifts in general, but in particular Grace, who had to I think she was trying to get more involved in the super shot time because they were double teaming Helen, but it's just not natural for her.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens with Grace Wecky.
Yeah.
She obviously, breaking news yesterday or today, this morning.
Yeah, well, whenever.
Around the
this is dropping Thursday, earlier in the week.
Yeah, earlier in the week. That she'll head back to the Ferns. But it is interesting because this whole season, at the start of the season, the Swifts were absolutely dominating with her in goal shooter. And then everybody else has just learnt how to play against her and she's not able to have the same impact. And you can see, as you say, that she does get a little bit sort of agitated, not really sure how to work around it.
I wouldn't call it agitated. I think it looks like she holds herself to a really high standard. And she's super young. Like, she's the same age as you, 21.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think, like, it's hard. I think everyone sees her as so good and, like, they just expect her to roll with the punches. But like you said, she's having a couple, like, it's obviously the whole Swifts team's going through a lean patch. And you can see her on court, like, she holds herself to these ridiculously high standards. And you can see the emotions.
Well, yeah, remember that game where she got player of the match? And she in the post-match, she was saying that it wasn't even, she wasn't happy with her game.
Yeah.
So she definitely holds herself to a really high standard. I think the Swifts, it will still be a very good preliminary final.
Yes.
I think that Swifts and Vixens rivalry is almost as good as it gets.
We will get to that one. I like it too.
True.
I like it too.
Ahead.
But the Swifts themselves, we can talk about Grace and it's an easy talking point, but I think there's so much more going on there. But the rest of the team are scattered.
And it doesn't help. They've had a couple of injuries in there. I think they really hurt. It really hurt them without Paige and also Tegan O'Shaughnessy.
Yeah, but because their mid-court is rattled without Paige. I still think it was a weakness anyway because they needed, a bit like the Thunderbirds needed 2 of Georgie Horges.
Yeah.
The Swifts probably need 2 of Hadley. They need 1 in centre and 1 in wing attack. But without her at all, they started with Ali Smith in centre. To be fair, that's the person I thought should play there anyway, but she's still learning the craft. And even I think it was like the 4th or 5th centre pass of the game, just pinged it into the crowd. Then they went to Verity, who was, I think she rolled her ankle later on and wasn't quite herself. Then Shani Lambden had a go. So she's played centre in the VNL, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
And again, there was multiple centre passes just directly going out or direct intercepts.
Yeah.
Obviously that scoreline, you've got to be turning the ball over a lot. So
some big mistakes in the midcourt. I think that's where
it's easy to blame Grace because I think it's an easy narrative for people.
Yeah.
But I think it lies further up the court. We'll keep our powder dry on the prelim final chat because you were about to make a very good point, but we'll save that. Just a couple of tidbits I noticed from this game as well that are a bit more in your Rudy Ellis getting a shiner areas. The Fever pre-game vibes. Now, we've personally been a little bit critical of the Fever sometimes. Whether or not that's correct, people can let us know. But they do have a great atmosphere over there, obviously packing it out. And they go with the sort of concert feel before the game. They blacked it out, phone torchlights out. I don't know what you think about that before a game of sport.
I think they do that most games. Yeah, it's it looks like possibly one of the better match day experiences.
Yeah.
Fever, there's green everywhere. I also saw
It'd be intimidating as an opposition player.
Oh, so intimidating.
Yeah.
I saw on socials that there was a whole lot of fans that were at the pub earlier watching the minor semi-final as well. So I think they've definitely created a pretty special fan atmosphere over in Perth. But you wonder, I don't know, we can't even sit here and say that they rely on that because they're just playing such clinical netball.
No, they don't rely on it.
And I think once they come over to Rod Laver Arena, which ultimately isn't really anyone's home court, it'll be interesting. I think they're very clinical.
You're telling Fever fans they need to buy their tickets quickly to Rod Laver and try to make it a cauldron. But I like the pre-game vibes, the blackout gear, it is very cool. Because imagine being the opposition. So I assume what happens is the opposition get into position and before they do the Fever players going out, that's when they turn the lights off.
Yeah.
So as a player, you're standing on the court, you're ready to go, you're already feeling the pressure and then the lights go out. I do like it. They are creating that. It's probably the one place you don't want to go. There's not many of those places in Australian sport anymore where it's like a complete.
Yeah.
You could probably it's probably all Perth because Optus Stadium in the footy.
Yeah, and Port Adelaide.
Yeah.
I'd say if we're talking footy.
Yeah, but I feel like because Adelaide's a bit more achievable to go to.
Yeah.
Like if Melbourne's playing, you're more likely to go to Adelaide Oval than you are Optus.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas Fever, there's
it's a green crowd.
There was no one from the Swifts.
No. Yeah. I do think that the Vixens also do that blackout quite well though.
Yeah.
Pre-game.
Maybe I'm just a bit more scared
of the Fever. I think you're just
Fever.
noticing it for the first time.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Hey, I would say that's probably absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it probably happens every week. I love as well that Janelle loves a junk time super shot because she loves that the crowd love it. And so they're out by about 38 or whatever it is late and she refuses to go into the 1 point zone. She's calling for the ball. She's putting them up from everywhere. Doesn't do it for the first 57 minutes of the game and the crowd love it.
It's
like a circus trick and you know what's going to happen and they're giddy over it. They eat it up, the Fever fans.
They love it. And it's funny because I'm pretty sure a couple of years ago there was a little bit of talk around like she can't shoot the super shots. But yeah, she's really is really nailing it.
Yeah, she's nailing it, and she can do it. She doesn't need to do it because they're winning by 20 all the time, but they eat it up. My only question, because we won't talk about the fever that much later, is do you think a lot of teams obsess over stopping Janelle? Do you think teams need to go the other way and go, look, they're going to score 70. Maybe we need to score 71, fight fire with fire?
Yeah, I think yes and no. You've got to have – you can't just let her run around.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I think we obsess over like who's going to stop Janelle when at the other end teams can't score over 50 against them. You've got to figure out a way to hit the scoreboard.
Did you see the Fever's TikTok the other day where they said like it takes a whole team to stop Janelle and they had like the rest of the Fever trying to stop her? She was still shooting super shots.
Yeah, and the Fever fans loved it.
Yeah.
They loved it. Anyway, unfortunately though for us, Janelle is not. She's Jamaican, so she can't be part of the Diamond squad despite the fact that obviously I did a bit of a floating head when the Diamond squad was announced, Liv, and I believe there was a comment on TikTok. I can't recall what it was. They actually asked, "Where's Fowler?" It seems strange. Someone earnestly, where is Janelle? But of course, a lot of people were quick to remind that person that Janelle is, of course, Jamaican. So the Diamond squad came out. The key changes, there was Alice Teague-Neald in, so straight in. So a lot of people have been calling for that. She'd been an invitee a couple of years ago, or the last 2 years, sorry, and has been called up full-time. And then Tegan O'Shannessy, Amy Sliger were the new invitees. Yep. But Tegan O'Shannessy, of course, can't. She's out with the back.
Injured, yes.
So Erin O'Brien is a replacement invitee. Yep. Didn't get on the graphic, which I thought was a bit disappointing. But we were pretty close with that. I'm pretty sure we mentioned Erin O'Brien. We mentioned Tegan. Obviously, Kate Eddie's chances.
Yeah.
Rudy Ellis is the interesting one. She's out, which I think's harsh. And Danelle is also dropped to invitee. So both of those seem harsh.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, honestly, no massive shocks in the ins and outs. I think it would have been great to see Rudy play, but she hasn't had the same impact that she was having last season. So when you look at the numbers, wasn't really that surprising. Danelle to invitee, no massive shock there. She's been playing in New Zealand.
It leaves a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth, though, because of how much people came out and said, we'll definitely get over to New Zealand. We're definitely, it won't hamper her. And whether or not it has hampered her, obviously she's been injured. But it just leaves a little bit of sour taste in my mouth that everyone was so, like if they just hadn't said anything and it happened, it doesn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Same with the Rudy thing as well. Like I agree with you that maybe her Super Netball form hasn't been that good, but you look at the whole list, there's a lot of players that Super Netball form hasn't been crash hot, but they've got that loyalty. Whereas it just seemed rogue that she's not even an invitee.
And that's where the story really is, that we need goal shooters. Like Lucy Austin, obviously in the list, she's played, it was 26 minutes in the whole season.
Yeah.
But she is Australia's best up and coming goal shooter.
Over 190 centimetres. She's the only one. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we're looking for a tall holding goaler, it's Lucy Austin or bust.
Yes. And people obviously angry or they're confused by the fact. But there's more to it. This happens in all sports that people, selectors in particular, like to be the person that discovers the uncovered gem, right? They want to be the one that comes out of nowhere and they can say, I picked it and no one else did. Happens in cricket all the time. Happens in I would say a lot of the other sports where it's a national team, particularly maybe in the world game football as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was that surprising. It does jar a little bit though.
I think it's also more so about looking at the bigger picture and thinking about how Stacey would be looking to build this squad out for 2027 World Cup. And they'd be wanting to bring young players in like Lucy Austin and Erin O'Brien and Hannah Mundy to get them a little bit of exposure, a little bit of experience to try and build that squad up for 2027. And whether they get on court or not, we'll see. But that's clearly the game that they're playing.
Yeah. Just quickly as well, you've got a little note in here about a Fever Diamonds showcase.
So I've seen that in the media in the last few weeks, the Fever.
In the West Australian.
In the West Australian, they love the Fever over there. And they have actually claimed to be the best Aussie netball team ever, which I think is so funny given that the Australian Diamonds are, half the team not Australian, and the Australian Diamonds are the number one team in the world currently ranked. And so I think it'd be awesome if we could do a Fever versus Diamonds showcase.
You could do that every year. Whoever wins the premiership plays the Diamonds in September? Or do you think it's only because the Fever have claimed it?
It's the Fever have claimed it, but also think it's only going to work with the Fever because they've only got Sunday and Alice Teague-Neald.
Yes.
But they could easily field a team, quarter team.
Yeah, well, they got Fran Williams on the bench. Yeah,
to do Fever versus the Diamonds. Yeah. And I think it would be a spectacle. People would get around it. Perth in particular is...
they love it.
Like they eat
love
up
the fever.
any netball that comes over there. But also once the Super Netball finishes, we're kind of starved
There's
for
a couple of
netball a
months,
little
isn't
bit.
there?
Like we're sort of stuck with not much netball for a while. Then the international series comes around. There's 4 Con Cup games. There might be another series. Gives us like 8 games. So I think we need more netball, and I think this would be a really good match.
Okay, well, I'll tell you who would be around that idea. You know who would get around that idea? Our Caribbean correspondent, Hannah Kuhar, because she just obviously loves netball. She'd be up for any extra netball games. She'd be over there. She'd put her hand up to fill in for Alice Teague-Neald. So we've obviously been hearing from her a fair bit while she's been over in Jamaica, leading the Manchester Spurs to victory. They're in the grand final that's next Sunday when this drops. Or sorry, on Sunday
This
coming.
Sunday,
I
yep.
can't remember. I've got caught up with the dates.
Sunday.
Sunday. No, but we have got some correspondence from her over there in the Caribbean. Got another update. It's been a couple of weeks since we've had one. So let's hear from a friend of the show, friend in general, Hannah Kuhar.
Very good evening from my humble hotel staycay in Jamaica. It's been pretty hectic in the Netball Jamaica house lately, so I thought I just want one night, a little bit of quiet, a little bit of peace away from the madness, but hasn't actually been that quiet. Check the background. Bob Marley, record player on repeat. Where else but Jamaica? Good news on the netball front, though. The Manchester Spurs went through to the grand final. It's been an undefeated season so far, so a lot of pressure on our shoulders. I think I've added some unnecessary pressure to my own shoulders, though, by booking an extra 23 kilos of luggage for the way back. Thought if I'm going to bring home a big trophy to sit on the shelves of the backcourt studios, I need an extra bag, so pressure is on. We go hard at it on Sunday, so for all of you messaging, thank you for the love. I have no idea where it's going to be streamed. Hopefully Instagram, YouTube, I'm not sure. When in Jamaica, you've just got to kind of wait and see how these things pan out. But Matt, I've been thinking of you because I've been going to a lot of cricket lately. There might be a spot in the Australian top order for you, even though you're a bowler. But I think we've done a greater win for the game of netball because I speak to the cricket fans and I'm like, it's pretty boring. Australia's dominating. Why don't you come across to the netball? And I actually won over 2 fans. They came and watched my semi-final. Even got on local TV, which made me feel pretty chuffed, although part of it was a dance competition at halftime. And I thought that was pretty mean of the local Jamaicans to put the 3 white people front and centre and say, do a little dance as halftime entertainment. But we all had a lot of fun, so it's all fun and games. I hope everything's going well at home, and I cannot wait to come home and see West Coast Fever just dominate whoever's unlucky enough to come up against them in the grand final. Swifts have been letting everyone down. Can your Vixens get through? I think it doesn't actually matter because Fever are going to wipe the floor with whoever they have. So anyway, can't wait to watch that with you all and to catch up soon. I miss you so much.
That's HK there, Liv. I don't know. Now, obviously, this is a mainly audio medium, I would say.
It is.
It's obviously available online on YouTube. If people would like to watch it, and we encourage them to do so.
Because you might be getting a little bit more than you bargained for.
Now, do you want to describe what we were presented with there from HK?
Just in case we weren't sure if Hannah could get any more random.
Which we love her for.
That video, she was wearing only a towel.
She's wearing 2 towels.
She is wearing 2 towels.
She's wearing one covering her body, but also one, as your mum would have done when you were growing up, around your hair. The sort of towel wrap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you asked, you doing your due diligence, she said, Hannah, give us an update from Jamaica. We haven't heard from you.
Yeah.
And that's the video she sent. So if that's what she's roaming around with, no wonder she's managed to get a couple of people to come watch the netball.
I'd love to know what's gone on at Jamaica House to cause her to book
that's a good point. There's other people. Oh, that's in a hotel.
She said at the start that she was
right. Well, maybe the Jamaican dollar has weakened and she's got a bit more bang for her buck or something like that. Not sure.
But how exciting that she's made the grand final.
Yes, well done for the Spurs. They've made the grand final. I don't think it's available on Instagram. I think it's definitely available on YouTube, though. To be honest, I, for the love of God, cannot figure it out, but I'm confident it's on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all going well. I think they've won every game. She said that she'd be flabbergasted if they lost the final.
Oh wow, that's a big.
Yeah, well, obviously she's pretty confident roaming around in a couple of towels, old 2 towels QR, just rolling around the streets of Jamaica, going to the cricket. Anyway, we've got to move on. We love hearing from HK.
We will.
And if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, get onto YouTube if you want to see just all the extras that you get. Okay, we've got a little bit of a listener submission. They're looking for advice, Liv, because we have got this Ennis Court of Law, but I think they're looking for advice. So we've had a listener come in and her team have made finals for social netball, but everyone has, and I'm paraphrasing here, fucked off to Europe. So they only have 4 players qualified to play. So qualifying, you got to play, 3 games, is it? Usually?
Yeah, normally 3.
3 games to play so that you can't just get to the finals and then, get down the big dogs, Olivia Lewis is free, we'll get her to play a game. So they're asking the backcourt, in all our infinite wisdom, what should they do?
Look, it depends. Do you want to go the politically correct way, or
I think we go everywhere.
All right. Well, if you work for Cityside Sports, this is where you turn off.
Yeah, go. Yeah,
this is where you can stop watching.
Yeah.
But I'd be just chucking a few good players on court.
Yeah, I agree. Because how do you check it?
So
it's the honesty system.
Nah, when you rock up, you have to scan a QR code and then register.
Right.
So
every game.
They then receive something that says Olivia Newman has played for this team.
Every week.
Yeah. Other leagues don't do it.
I was going to say.
Social sport's a lot more lax. Part of the reason why we're going, why the premature shooters are swapping leagues. But we actually have the same problem. We've made finals as well, and a couple of our players are sort of a bit everywhere. And we luckily have a guy who has qualified, has played 3 games, but he works in nighttime radio, so can only play if it's an 8:40 or a 9:20 game. So we're waiting to see what our time will be. So we've got the same problem. So I completely understand this.
You empathise.
I empathise. I think you've just got to put some good people on court, and actually good people's the wrong way to put it. I think try and put some
bad people.
No, just like of same ability as the team.
Yeah. So you're there's a bit of honesty system. You're going, look, we're down short here. We're not gonna dog you. Let us pick.
Because I've also come across that before. This is the reason why we left the last league. Was that one of the reasons was we kept making finals and then rocking up to play against teams that we had beaten. And they had, this one team in particular, had state basketball players who had filled in for them.
It leaves a sour taste, doesn't it?
And it's just a little bit like, it's just not very good sportsmanship.
No, it's not.
So
much like the Vixens, who showed horrible sportsmanship on the weekend.
Much like the Vixens. But I think that it just comes down to, getting a few people on court. But once again, it's just like social netball. Why do we have these ridiculous qualification rules?
I get it.
I get it too.
But also, like, if they're down to 4 here, so you're saying you've got to scan a QR, because my idea was just like, because it happens a lot if you listen to a lot of stories from the UK, they have Sunday League, similar thing, and you'll get told, so you'll turn up, I'm filling in, let's say, and you go to me, if anything happens, if you get talked to by the referee, say your name's Simon, because that's who I'm filling in for. Yeah. Right? And then you just have to pretend that. So my suggestion would have been like, all right, if the 3 missing players are Dean, Matt, and Liv, if anything happens, your name's Liv, my name's Dean, and whatever's name's Matt. But if the QR thing, that seems a bit over the top.
That makes a little bit difficult, but this is...
Could you transfer the QR code?
So, a few weeks ago, really hope they're not watching now.
We'll tag them in the socials.
The team sent me a photo of the QR code.
Right.
I'm filling in for a team and...
Under the name of?
I'm not saying that because then they're going to know. Then they sent me a photo of the QR code.
Yeah.
I had to send it to somebody else so I could then scan said QR code off their phone.
Yes.
So then I checked in even though I didn't play.
Right, because the QR code and then your IP. Well, there you go. So, but what we're saying is, you need to get screenshots of the QR codes and work it around so it doesn't get traced to the original phone.
Exactly.
Okay. If that makes sense, anonymous listener, let us know and good luck. We might even fill in if you.
Yeah, that was the other option.
Yeah.
I am actually filling in for this team.
Oh, yeah. You're giving away the non-name.
But you should.
Yeah.
Oh, actually,
when is
all
it?
Girls. You look good in a skirt.
Yeah, I once got told it in high school. I reckon year 10 or 11. I went through a stage of shaving my legs. I've no idea why.
Really?
Yeah, I thought they looked better athletically.
Okay.
And then one of the girls told me that I had really nice legs, but like she was jealous of them. And then I stopped shaving them because that's a bit. But yes, I reckon I could get away with it.
I think you could too.
Absolutely. Well, again, if they're listening, if there's time, I'm happy to have a run around.
Yeah, great.
God, nothing better to do. Okay, now we're talking about teams that need to find players.
We are.
The Giants.
Giants netball crisis mode.
Crisis. Let's rip it up, start again. No, it's not exactly like that. But obviously in the last fortnight, they've had a lot of things happening. So first off, Joe Harton retired. We covered that last week. Great career. Well done, Joe. Casey Kapua, there was speculation that they might get her to try and play on again at the age of 41, which is double your age almost, Liv. Just think about that. But no, she said, no, I've had my fun. I've had my 6 weeks. I'm going home. I've got 3 kids. I've got a business. Obviously, we already know Jodie Amor will probably given the trends in netball, she'll probably miss the whole of next season.
Yeah.
If you look at Lauren Moore, it took her basically a year and a half to come back. So Jodie Ann, you would say, is gone. Julie Fitzgerald, there were reports that she was going to carry on, but on the weekend she announced that she's also done. So that's a lot of people over there. And obviously there's speculation that Jamie Lee Price will be on the move, which she didn't help when she posted an Instagram story last Wednesday or Thursday or whatever night it was, saying that her roommate needed an extra roommate. People were going crazy on the rumour mill. Jamie cleared it up and said no, that Tilly McDonald was found somewhere else to live, which is another rumour.
A whole other spiral of rumours.
People weren't quite as interested in that one. But there's all of that, and then the spectre laying over the top of that is the looming passing on of ownership to the Mounties. So it's all happening.
It is. I think what's most interesting about this is that obviously the Giants haven't had the most successful season. So it's time for a bit of a bids in the bowl.
Yes.
And what's most interesting is that their list is so young. So in my mind, they're going to need to bring some experience into that list and sort of get a couple of sort of older players.
And not even older, just like
leadership.
Don't have to be, 30 plus. Just have to have played, you'd say, more than 4 or 5 seasons, I'd say. Because like you said, Erin O'Brien obviously going well. She's in the Diamonds invitee list, same as Avi Sligo, but they're both under 23.
Yeah.
Sophie Dyer's played a lot of netball, but she's still under 23. Matisse is under 23. I think at one stage, when Jodie Ann Moore got injured, I think Julie was saying, and Joe Hart was on the bench, Jamie Lee Price was the only person over 23 on the court.
Exactly.
Now, if she does leave, you're actually left with a team that's an under 23 team.
Exactly. And I think, so I've pulled together a list of a few people, right?
There's a wave of motivation.
I'm going to try and move through them quickly, and you can add to it as well. But
hit me.
Verity Simmons.
She's a netballer.
She plays for the Swifts currently. She's absolutely, clearly loving it. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with her. If Maddie Proud will be back next year, she's not going anywhere. So possibly she jumps across to the Giants and jumps into that midcourt, brings a whole lot of experience with her. If JLP looks to move to Melbourne,
right,
I'm wondering if we could see another shock
this
trade,
is mega trade areas.
A true trade.
Yeah.
Could we see Kate Moloney go to the Giants?
I think you're more likely to have a female Pope.
I think we will see pigs fly first.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd just put it out there.
That's coming from a Vixens fan. That's coming from the Vixens number 2 ticket holder because I'm pretty sure there's a number 1.
Who's number 1?
I don't know. But I don't think it's you, Liv. They can't have a 21-year-old number 1 ticket holder. Anyway, but that's coming from a Vixens fan.
I'm just putting a bit of...
Yeah, you're throwing shit out
throwing stuff out there and seeing what sticks, right? Ekanazio.
All right, I'm all in on this now. This is timely.
Interesting because this morning, at time of recording, Netball New Zealand have come out and said that she will not be playing in the Constellation Cup.
She's taking some time off to just sort of find herself. She's played a lot of netball for a long time, wants to hang out with her kids.
Which seems as though it's genuine personal leave and that's what she wants to take a break from the game. Totally get that. But let's create a possible alternate universe. Could she have had some really tough conversations with the people at Netball New Zealand?
Well, and New South Wales, yeah.
And New South Wales. And she has possibly asked to move to Australia to come to the Super Netball League. They, I think, would be a lot tougher on her than they were on Grace Wecky, given that she's the captain. They would not be letting their captain play.
Yeah. There was, I'm pretty sure, again, I haven't read it in full detail, but I'm sure there was the release, was it, as we recorded, maybe yesterday, last night, where it seemed like they were loosening their laws on who can play where.
Yeah.
And I suspect, I don't know whether that is the true case. I do think it's genuine personal leave.
I think it is true.
But I do think that we're going to see a few more Kiwis come over because I think the New Zealand League itself is probably, they've only got 6 teams, so they might be going, you know what, maybe we go back to being a bit more of a developmental league.
Yeah.
A bit more like the NSL is, how it's a tier below and we let our players run free and be as good as they can.
And the country gets better.
Yeah.
This next one I think is probably
but Ekanazio, I'm all in on that.
Yes. The most realistic. I actually have realised I've never said this name out loud, so I'm sure I'm going to say it wrong. Liv Shine? Liv Shine.
I think the T's silent.
Yeah.
Apologies.
If you're listening, Liv, I'm sorry. But she's still very young, so doesn't quite bring that experience. But she, of course, played in the Grand Final for the Super League, playing for the London...
The Pulse? The winners, Tyler Orr's Pulse. They were on the piss.
With Tyler Orr. So, in her celebration post after the Grand Final, she posted quite a cryptic caption that included, "Now for a change of scenery."
Right.
So does that mean that Liv
Extra W, or is that a
coming
typo in
across-
here?
No, that's
she
the
put two
direct- she
Ws.
Yep, that's two Ws.
All right. So
In capital
So
letters.
she's going to the West Coast Fever. Oh,
Well,
okay.
I reckon she's coming
You think
possibly
she's
to
going to the
Australia.
Giants?
Who knows?
I believe that was floated. She was floated as an option when Janelle was obviously missing at the start of the year. The people floated her as a possible replacement option from memory.
Actually, yeah, I think I remember that too.
Yes.
Kelly Jury, I've seen her name floating around. Obviously, she
Hasn't she got the longest arms in netball or something like that?
really
Yeah.
long arms, but that obviously relies on the floodgates being open now from New Zealand. I think she'll be one of the first ones to come across here. This one's another one of my favourites coming from the UK. Funmi Fedoju.
Funmi Fedoju. But she
Fedoju.
just re-signed with, so she also played for the Pulse.
Yeah.
And there's an absolute baller shot of her sitting in like a throne with the trophy. They did it really, really well. I think Sky Sports got involved. This is an aside to the topic.
yeah.
It's a fucking cool photo. But she signed with the Pulse for another year though.
Yeah, but I remember watching her in the World Cup, the most recent World Cup,
weapon.
and she just like absolutely tore it up. And I remember thinking, surely she's coming
There's
over
a bit
here
of Laddie
soon.
Wilson about her because she's not that tall, but she's just like, there's a bit of chaos.
Yeah, chaos. But the rumour with her is that apparently she's wanting to stay in the UK to finish her studies and that her parents sort of want her to,
That's fair enough.
finish her
My
studies.
parents were the same with me. They didn't let me go play professional sport because I wanted to do my studies.
Oh, yeah.
I'm joking.
I was going to say, well, were there lots of phone calls you were having to?
Yeah. I said, come on, please let me in. They said no.
Yeah.
Okay,
Last
keep
couple
going.
of last ones. Rolene. Could we see Rolene come back?
Wasn't she on the Mavs?
She
thing
was on
last
the Mavs
year?
list
Yep.
last year, played a few games. I don't think we'll see her come back because she didn't really hit her stride at the Mavs. She had a couple of good games, but nothing really that would make the Giants want to be sure about bringing her back in.
Yep.
And then what about a combination where Joe becomes the head coach?
Well, people will eat that up as a rumor.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then they go for Sophie Fawns, who is needing some more court time. And then they create like the perfect three-pronged attack of Sophie Dwyer, Matisse, and Sophie
I think
Fawns.
that's a great TikTok front line. I think it's like TikTok are eating that up.
Yeah.
Would I describe it as the perfect three-prong attack? Probably not. But I do like it. I think it's a vibe spin. It's a vibe front end.
It could be a young sort of up-and-coming combination.
Well, again, so Sophie Fawns is a watch for everyone. When we do our mega trade special, she'll be a watch.
She will
I
be.
think for everyone.
And then obviously questions around Tilly McDonald because she is so publicly moving house. So
and she didn't say it. JLP dropped her in it.
Exactly. And then the other one that I love, actually I've got two more, sorry.
Here we go. I'm loving
Ash
this.
Irvin.
Yeah.
She's probably looking for some more court time. She's on the Diamonds list, but she's not necessarily starting at the Lightning.
Well, yes and no, because Courtney's always injured. yeah.
So does she come to the Giants? And lastly, and possibly most realistically, Lauren Moore.
Save your best for last.
Back
You
to the
reckon? Well,
Giants.
Loz Parkinson.
Parkinson.
Yes.
Back to the Giants.
Okay. To be honest, I reckon we're going to have to somehow get this out on the socials because I think this will create a lot of good conversation. Liv. This is some good gear. Obviously, the only one that we absolutely know about is Funmi because she is actually signed. The rest of them are ones. To be honest, there's a couple in there that I think could happen. There's a couple that I'm a bit more skeptical on, but they're all possibilities. And that's the beauty of this medium that we can just make shit up, and if you can't prove it wrong.
And then it happens, we get to claim that we predicted it.
Exactly. Predicted 9 of them, 1 came true. We never get them wrong.
Exactly.
Okay, I like it. People, get in touch. What other team should Liv do a list analysis of? Liv's list analysis. Next week, she'll be looking at... No, she might not. I don't know how much time she's got on her hands. Private ownership, we're not going to talk about this week, but we'll talk about it another time. I did notice Marvel are in town, though.
Yes.
Promoting, is it the Fantastic Four? And I saw this on Brody Grundy's Instagram this morning with the Giants and the Swans, and they had Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, and Cousin from The Bear. Do you know Cousin? I don't know his name as an actor. I know him as Cousin. And so, maybe they could get involved. A couple of them were holding Giants jumpers, so maybe, while they were there, someone from the Giants had a word and said, we've actually got a netball team if you want. And Vanessa's, I don't know if she is British, but she was in the Crown, so she must know of netball.
Yeah, I think that's another watch this space, and it's not the first time we've mentioned it. It's time for netball to see some private ownership. We'd love to see
cash
some
involved.
Big dogs from overseas.
All right, now let's move on. Final topic. It's been a bumper show, and we promised that at the start. We promised a bumper show, and the people that we deliver on our promises here at the backcourt. Prelim final chat. It's Swifts and Vixens. It's Kira Austin's hair derby, the old money derby. Now I will say it is very, 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 very easy to say Vixens are going to roll them, Swifts are nowhere. And to be honest, watching the mini again this morning, the Swifts look shot. But in all, especially Australian sport where we have this system where people get double chance, more often than not, the loser of that first final ends out winning the prelim final despite form lines. But it is very tempting to tip the Vixens.
Yeah, I've been on board the Vixens train the whole time, but it does make me. I'm still nervous. I'm not counting
nervous?
Yeah, because I think that the Vixens and the Swifts have this weird rivalry where they know how to get under each other's skin. There's enough players that have played in both lists who they understand each other probably as good as any other two teams do in the Super Netball. So, and sometimes the Vixens can struggle away from home.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think they'll get the job done. I think that the Swifts midcourt is just a little bit too shaky.
And you would argue that that's probably the Vixens' strength because Moloney's Moloney, despite the fact she's playing for the Giants next year. As we mentioned off the top, Kate Eddy had a great game. And Zara Walters, actually, we probably didn't give her flowers. She's had to play, after playing 0 minutes for about a month, she's then had to play 4 full games because Mundy's been out, and she did really, really, really well.
Yeah.
So, and then if you look at the Swifts midcourt, you may as well chuck us out there and we'll give it a go. There is a note here that the Vixens have a very good record in preliminary finals themselves.
Yeah. Do you remember in 2022?
I don't.
I was at that game. You might have. I thought you were there. No, they played against the Giants and won it on the siren in the last 80 seconds of the game. It was a massive game where MJ had a turnover and then Mannix took this great intercept and I think Kip shot a super shot. But that game, they shot 17-7 in the last quarter. So
you put a note in this and I looked it up. So there was a bookender game. So the Vixens dominated the first and the last quarter and the Giants dominated the 2 and 3, but the Vixens got up by 1. So they've got a good record in the prelim because then they beat the Fever last year in the prelim, obviously, as well.
True.
So, look, their head and a heart actually says the Vixens, despite the fact I'm wearing a Swift scarf. I do think it's interesting that you mentioned that there's actually a bit of crossover. People have played for either team. Obviously, Shani Lambden, Vixens. Ali Smith, I think, played a couple of games for the Vixens, but then Garvin and Kate Eddy.
Yeah.
Smith is Victorian. She's from Geelong. But Garvin and Eddy have played for this. For the Swifts.
They debuted in the same game at the Swifts.
Did that? There you go. Look at this is a very netball heavy. Look at that.
I know.
Look at this. Just sort of.
Just come out of nowhere.
Because HK dialed in 2 towels. So it's just sort of osmosis. Okay, well, let's do a tip. How about, because there's only one game, we'll do a tip and a margin.
Okay.
So what are you thinking?
I'm going Vixens by 4.
Vixens by 4. Oh, look, a bit of me is like the Swifts will bounce back. But I also think the Vixens are going to win. But I think it's going to be by 2. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to extra time.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it'll be a big margin.
No, I don't think so either because I think the Swifts will be fired up and obviously they'll bounce back. And I think the Vixens just, even though they were very clinical this weekend in attack, they don't often put teams to the sword. Like they don't really punish teams like, for example, the Fever do. You give the Fever a couple games and it's like, see you, buddy.
Yeah.
So there you go. But we're both tipping the Vixens. That's the show, Liv.
That is
what
the show.
What an exciting show. What more could you want? We're talking netball. We're talking, how to cheat your social netball system. We're talking 2 towels. We're talking everything. That's what you get on the backcourt where you don't know what's coming for you. Happy birthday to Liv, 21. Got her whole life ahead of her. But we'll be back next week with our grand final preview. Vixens and Swifts this weekend. Go the Vix. Until next time, we'll see you on the backcourt.